Welcome to the 1204. If you fly with the crows, you may get shot with the crows. One has to be very careful about who they choose to associate with, especially if you are associating with that person in public. Unfortunately, especially on social media, people believe in guilty by association. I personally think that's unfair. I think it's unfair what's happening to the co-host of the RTM podcast. I believe she goes by the name Kiki Morales. And why I think it's unfair is because Kiki has not done anything wrong. And in my opinion, Kiki is getting more stick than the person who actually caused this shit show. Because it was Young Spray that said that chick was ugly. Kiki didn't say that chick was ugly. But yet, at the moment, Kiki is getting more stick than the person who started all of this. What Kiki fails to realize, or maybe she does realize, because I assume, well, judging by the comments and the people who are openly condemning Kiki, it's black women. So there's no surprise there. But let me tell you how black women's minds work. Now, remember, Kiki was not even present when Young Spray said what he said. There was another woman present. And that woman isn't getting any stick when she, just for being present, because she eventually walked away from Young Spray. She has disassociated herself from Young Spray. But let me tell you how these black women's minds work, the ones who are giving Kiki stick. Because she has not publicly accosted Young Spray. And I'm not talking about just challenging Young Spray, just, being respectful about it. Unless she's going to challenge Young Spray in a hostile manner. And unless she does that publicly, and on top of all of that, the cherry on top of the icing on top of the cake would be for her to walk away from him, walk away from his podcast, then in the eyes of these black chicks, you are going to be a pick-me-sha. Because if you go back there to work underneath this man, these black women are going to go after your head with your weave attached to it. Black people behave in the same manner towards King Riches. Because he was working for Just Pearly Things. Just Pearly Things made, some very, very derogatory comments about black people with slavery. She was paying King Rich's wages. King Richards still decided to work for this woman. And guess what? He felt the wrath from the black community. Fortunately for Kiki, it's only black women that's given her rubbish. And she is going to continue to receive rubbish from black women unless she chooses to disassociate herself and publicly condemn Young Spray for his comments. So Kiki making that video she made, trying to explain herself, it's only counterproductive. That video is pure futile. Because all you're going to do is annoy that same group of black women you are trying to appeal to. You need to think very carefully, Kiki, about your choices, your lifestyle choices when it comes to social media. Because hanging around with this guy does not engage brain before he speaks. It's just pure verbal diarrhea. The mouth opens, the shit falls out. And I don't think he even has the ability to even sit down and reflect and say, do you know what? I put my hands up. I was bang out of order. He's not even capable of doing that. Look at the guy. This guy has done smoked his brains out. This guy's brain is fried. You can look it in his eyes and know that this guy is not with it. Are you that desperate for clout? You are willing to align yourself with this man? Listen, hang about with him all day long if you want. Stay on his show. But if you stay on his show, you're gonna have to pick a side. Because sitting on the fence, you're only gonna get splinters up your ass. So you may as well, you may as well get involved and actually back this guy or walk away from this guy. Because challenging him in a respectful manner is not enough for these black women who are going after you right now. Those black women, they want to see blood. Because you are working for somebody, I'm assuming he's paying you to be there. I mean, I don't know what kind of arrangement you guys have got going on there. But assuming he's paying you to be there, black women are going to see it as you are okay working for this man who has publicly disrespected a black woman. Because those black women have this mentality that if you call one black chick ugly, it means you hate black women and all this. Listen, I've been through that myself, man. When I made video on my previous channel, I said that one chick was ugly. And she was very ugly. She still is, actually. And people were telling me how I hate black women and I'm a sellout. Because that's the low mentality a lot of these black chicks have. I'm just keeping it real. You insult one of them, then next thing you know, they're all ugly. And they're like a dog with a bone. They won't let this thing go. So if you know you want to have some kind of career, I mean, whatever that looks like, in social media, then you need to walk away from this guy. Or if you don't walk away from him, you may as well align yourself with him. And also as well, I just want to make one last point. You said that, and this is where I think, that you might be taking a piss, Kiki. I have a feeling Kiki may be taking a piss a little bit. Kiki said that this girl should have stayed because she wanted to find out. She had all these questions. She wanted to find out about this girl's journey and things like that. Kiki, give your head a wobble, my friend. Are you really that naive? Surely you're not that daft. Look at that podcast there. Look at that RTM podcast. Look at the setup they got going on over there. And I don't mean the physical setup in terms of the furniture. Look at that shit right there. That podcast you got going on there is ghetto. Extremely ghetto and extremely juvenile. And in most cases, it's very, very silly. Let's use our common sense now, Kiki. There is no way that podcast being ghetto and juvenile with that kind of host, that would not be the appropriate platform for this young lady, Anfos, to share her journey. The very same podcast where the host called her ugly, said she's fucking ugly. Now, I'll touch on that on another video. That's a whole different topic altogether. That show right there is not the right platform for such serious topics. That is the wrong platform for that. That platform, that RTM podcast, the RTM platform with Young Spray as the host, that is only good for one thing and one thing only. Getting a bunch of washed up rude boys on that show to discuss how there were gangsters back in Peckham or gangsters in Lewisham or whatever area that these guys came from. That's what that podcast is good for. They are incapable of hosting such topics and discussions. You can't even speak for 2 seconds without Young Spray interjecting and coming up with something random. Who in their right mind will go on that fucking show to discuss serious matters, Kiki? Huh? So I think they should stick to interviewing washed up rude boys. Or if not, interview current rude boys, whatever. But that kind of discussion and topic would be inappropriate for that host, Young Spray, to host such a discussion. And you might want to pick a side. You may want to align yourself with Young Spray properly. Or you just leave him. Because right now it seems like you're trying to sit on the fence. And you don't want to sit on the fence. Because that's how you get splinters up your ass. Peace.